Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis welcome you to a really new year.
2015? You mean we're in the future?
I gotta check this out, Doc.
The intent here is to gain a clear perception of humanity. Where we've been, where we're going, the pitfalls and the possibilities, the perils and the promise.
Michael J. Fox.
Are we back?
Christopher Lloyd.
The future is dark!
Back to the Future Part 2, rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
Are we back?
We're back.
Everybody, guess what I'm doing again? Watching one movie and podcasting about it. Every day in March, it's Back to the Future 2. So listen each day, or at least try, as I bring you year 2 of Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. Oh, Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly.
It's Monday, March 14th, and you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? That means today, for the 14th straight day, I watched Back to the Future Part 2. But I didn't watch it this morning like I usually do, watch it before work. No, because, well, number one, my wife was home today. So what does that mean? That means she doesn't have to get up early, so my dog doesn't get up early, so I don't get up extra early, because I work from home. Number two, daylight savings time, I think, threw everyone off still a bit. So even my dog slept a little later. I don't think I got out of bed till almost 7:30, almost maybe close to 8 o'clock actually. And by the time I was kind of ready for work, I was ready to work. I had to quickly eat breakfast and not watch Back to the Future Part 2. But rest assured, I found time throughout the day, a little bit during lunch, but the rest earlier this evening in the within the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock hours, I watched Back to the Future for the 14th straight day. It isn't as exciting as it sounds. Today I was almost like, oh, I want to do it. I got to do it. This is part of the gig that I set up for myself. So let's just do it. And I did it. And here I am talking about it. And I even took new notes. Like every so often, just new notes seem to pop up in my head, new ideas. I'm thinking, I don't think I've mentioned that before. But even before I get to those notes, I still have notes from the other day that I haven't touched on. Some are just ideas that would have been cool in sequels, and I don't think I touched on all of these. I usually cross out the ones that I've talked about. Now this one really relates to yesterday, where, everything ended up worse whenever someone called Marty chicken, and he could never, ever resist it. I said, Marty, I need you to kill a man unless you're chicken. Oh, well, okay, I'll kill him. Marty, I need you to, rob this bank for me unless you're chicken. That's what they almost did. So yeah, that's just a little tail end yesterday. The fact that you could literally get Marty to do anything, just by calling him, El Chicken. No, Polo. El Polo. Chicken in Spanish. I couldn't say it. Okay, this is an interesting one. So Doc shows back up and he's like, my kid showed up. He's like, oh, darn it. Drats, I didn't have enough in the sleep-inducing alpha rhythm generator. I used too much on Jennifer. There wasn't enough left on your kid. Okay, cool. But right before that, you said, hey, Einstein was in a suspended animation kennel. He never knew I was gone. Well, how long were you gone? 10 minutes? He wasn't with them in the car. That's right. Einstein wasn't at the end of Back to the Future and at the beginning of Back to the Future 2. He was in a suspended animation kennel. So, from my understanding, based on that means Doc found Marty Jr., approached him. Marty Jr. went, oh my God, you're my dad's best friend, or you're my dad's old friend. You're supposed to be dead. Or he didn't recognize him at all. And then he shot him with the ray and I guess just left him in the alley too. Said, okay, things should be fine. I'm going to go now to the kennel and get Einstein. He just left Marty Jr. to mess everything up and went and got Einstein. Again, Doc, you didn't really plan everything out here too much. I have here $174.50. That is the cost of a taxi fare that Biff paid to get from downtown Hill Valley out to Hilldale, and he didn't even flinch when the guy said $174.50. He pressed his thumb on the panel like it was no big deal. So the future, everybody's rich. I remember hey, give a thumb $100 for the clock tower. Everybody's rich in 2015. He didn't care about that at all. And I said, is the future so good and so rich that a place like Hilldale, which really doesn't look that bad, is considered like terrible? Is that the joke? That it's so nice, the future's so nice that this, pretty regular middle class suburb is considered bad? I mean, those cops were like, we don't want to go to Hilldale after dark. Like that's how much they weren't into it. I liked when back at the McFly house when the daughter and son answer the phone. They're like, Dad, it's Needles. Dad, it's for you. But when Marty heard it was Needles, right away he had this look like, oh, I better take this in the other room. And you could see like he was a little uncomfortable with it. Like there just looked like a nervous look on his face. So I felt like he knew something was coming. These next two were little ideas that I had to add some pizzazz to this movie. I mean, in the middle half of the movie, like shows how horrible something could be. The middle half, that doesn't make sense. How horrible you could make, you could change time, with just one decision. And there's not enough time there. They go right back to the 50s, and you're basically in the first movie again from different angles. But I was like, what if the stakes were much bigger than just a sports almanac and a man becoming rich? And unfortunately, yes, like the death of George, that's tragic. But what if it was? I said, imagine if Jennifer's meeting her younger self, her older self, actually did tear make a tear in the space-time continuum, and they had to fix it. And so the real thing was, we have to get back the future. We have to get back the present. We have to get back everything. How do we do that? And it becomes a much larger, epic kind of story. Or I said, what if the time machine was stolen, maybe by Biff, maybe not, and was reverse engineered? Biff brought the time machine back to someone and said, hey, yo, what is this? How do we do this? Obviously, Biff didn't know anybody then, but, just a thought. So they reverse engineered, and then they go back to 1985, or all of a sudden people are showing up left and right. People are time traveling all over the place. It becomes a commodity. It becomes vacations, and things are just like haywire and hectic. Just throwing that out there, just little ideas that, for a 30-year-old movie, 33-year-old movie. Hey, guys, here's a way to improve your 33-year-old movie. What? Nerd? Okay, now back to just some notes. Lorraine was so strong in 1955. She was very independent. She really liked Calvin Klein. She drank a little. She smoked a little. She was very confident. Did the murder of George really break her that much to agree to marry Biff Mofo Tannen? I'm thinking, were things that bad? Was she did she not work? Did she need the money and the kids were just trouble? Did they say they got married in 1973 and he was killed in 73? That was pretty quick. I have to double check that. I have to watch the movie again at some point. I'll have to remember that. But it's just like when you see her later on and she's like, you're right, Biff, I'll stay. He was right, I was wrong. It was just like so depressing seeing the once, strong, independent Lorraine, who remained strong and independent. Life didn't break her down in the original 85 timeline. Just seeing her kind of really, really beaten, and physically abused too. In 55, something inconspicuous. I might have talked about this already. Marty sneaks around in broad daylight in 1955, going by the, slurking behind cars, walking by these kids playing like in the downtown area when we see Biff getting his car back, and nobody even blinks an eye to this creep walking around in a hat and sunglasses. Not at all. Okay, I still have more notes. You know what I wanted to do? The money. I like the part where in the movie Doc has this briefcase filled with all this money from all these different times. I took a screenshot of it and I just was looking, and it looks like it goes 1983, 1958. I see 1902. I think I see 1814, 1985, 1914, 1864. 1864, 1861, 1863, 1875, 1914. I don't see any money. Oh, no, all the 1860 money could be used before 1885. So he's got plenty of money. Well, I don't know how much is there, but he looks like he has a good amount of money. And Marty gives a little when he sees that, like a little whistle. I thought that was, I didn't even notice the whistle until recently. I thought that was a cool touch. I don't see any futuristic money. I'm surprised there isn't money that looks very futuristic. He had that 50 in the future, but it looked like a $50 bill. And again, money, it has gone through some design changes, but pretty much it's the same as, it's not that different as it's been over the last, 20, 30 years. So I just wanted to touch on that briefcase. I thought that was cool and a smart thing when you think about it. You need money. You don't need every year because obviously, money from a $10 bill from 10 years ago is just as good as a $10 bill today. That doesn't change. So as long as you have like certain eras, you'll be good to go. I had that screenshot on my desktop for like the last 4 days going, I got to talk about that. I need to talk about that. Okay. Back to some notes. These are notes I actually took. I think I started taking them today. Are these all today? Yes, I think these are today's notes. So, my goodness gracious, I'm going to get caught up with notes, and then I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I guess taking more notes. So, I'm not going to say that two old guys wrote this movie, but when Jennifer finds out she's going to be going to the future, all she thinks about is, I'm going to see my wedding dress and see my wedding and see my house and we're going to have kids, probably have a nice house. And I said, I guess that's what a 17-year-old girl wants to see in her future. Like, that's the first thing she thought of, because I think Gail and Zemeckis were like, I don't know, the girls like, they like wedding dresses and stuff, and having families. Isn't that what ladies like? And what do kids like? I don't know. Marty wants to be a rich rock star. And what does he say? What am I, a rich rock star? I am rich, though, right? Well, okay, that one at least makes a little sense. Again, I couldn't see Claudia Wells saying wedding dress and wedding and house and kids. But Elizabeth Shue pulls it off, except it just is like, is that really the first thing she'd be thinking of? I found a major flaw today. Was my first first kind of realization of this. So we meet a few third generation people in this movie. First off, in the future, we see Goldie Wilson III. Goldie Wilson III looks exactly like his grandfather, Goldie Wilson. Then we meet Griff Tannen. Griff Tannen looks exactly like his grandfather, Biff Tannen. Then we meet Marty Jr. Why in the hell does Marty Jr. not look exactly like George effin' McFly? I know why, in reality, because they weren't going to make that would have been funny if they just took a young Jeffrey Weissman, with all the chin and the prosthetics, and he would have been like, hey, I'm Marty Jr., look at me, I'm a peeping Tom, and I also, just everything that George did in the original cafe. It would have been hilariously terrible. Obviously, they couldn't do that. But just the fact that it seems like everyone in 2015 looks exactly like their grandfather, except for Marty Jr. It doesn't make any sense, and now it's going to weigh heavier on me for the rest of the month. All right, let's keep going through these notes. Why doesn't Marty later on be like, hey, Doc, what did Biff mean that I flushed my life down the toilet? Like, he seemed pretty adamant that I ruined my life. Can you let me know what that means? Or is there anything I can do? Is there any moment I can avoid? Like, something majorly bad happens in Marty's life. Notice I shied away from saying catastrophic. Oh my God. I should have just, shied away from talking about how I shied away from it. But, Marty never says, what did he mean by that? What's going on? I wrote down, why didn't Marty confront the cops? So they think Jennifer's the 47-year-old Jennifer that just has a wonderful facelift. Why doesn't Marty go like, oh my goodness, she went for a walk and she passed out. I'll take it from here, everyone. Here's my thumbprint. I'm Marty McFly. Yes, I'm also 47. Yes, I've also had a wonderful facelift. And they could have taken Jennifer, and that would have worked there. Again, that makes too much sense. What does Marty Jr. say to the car that almost hit him? So I actually looked this up. I tried to hear it. I think I got most of it, but I found a website called movies.stackexchange. Stack Exchange, I thought was like a place to, I think it is a place to like share code and like coding tips and source files and all that crap. But there's a movie one, I guess, that you can search things on movies and TV. And this is only from 4 months ago. What does Marty Jr. yell while crossing the street in Back to the Future 2? And it says this answer's closed. It's not currently accepting topics, because I guess someone answered it that, what does he yell? My guess below is the sentence, "Don't drive train, you low-res scuzzball congro." That is what the person's guessing. Someone said, maybe, where is it? I saw it where he said maybe instead of congro, it was something. Oh, sounds like scoundrel maybe instead of congro. But he does say trank. So we do hear trank the first time there. Then she must have been tranked. Hilldale is a breeding ground for tranks. And when Jennifer goes, what happened? She's like, you've had a mild trank. So I wonder if they think that Jennifer is a druggie. If those cops think Jennifer is like, on the drugs, why wouldn't they think that? She's passed out in an alleyway. I only have 2 more notes. And then I guess we're going to call it a night. I mean, this is going to be one of the shorter episodes. But again, I'd have to do this again tomorrow. So there's always something new. I have little ideas that I haven't touched on. I've been very busy at work also. So I'm just trying to get, and I realize, this is a major priority, watching a movie for 31 straight days. I have to prioritize this more, gosh darn it. It says, Marty slept for almost 2 hours. Remember, you've been asleep for almost 2 hours. You're back on the 27th floor. 27th floor. So where was Doc all this time? Doc goes home. Hill Valley's not that big. Didn't take an hour for him to get there, an hour to get back. So Doc's like, oh my goodness, George McFly's been murdered. I found this in the newspaper, and I need to go to the cemetery. That's probably where he'll be. So he gets there. He's like, oh, he's not here yet. I guess I'll just wait. Then like an hour and a half later, or 2.5 hours later, probably by the time he slept, all that stuff happened. Then he goes, where he meets Biff. Then he goes to the cemetery. So I was just wondering, was it just great timing, or was Doc waiting for him all that time? Because it just seems like all of a sudden, I knew you'd be here. Well, okay, but where have you been? Well, no, actually, where have you been? He went home. He went to the library. So he did do things. I don't know why he didn't go immediately looking for Marty. I'm not sure of that, but that is just, it is what it is. So Doc was more interested to find out what happened to him than he was to find out where he left a 17-year-old boy in a time he does not know. And my last note of this evening, and I think with this, I am 100% caught up on notes. And then there's one other thing I found in that Stack Exchange website I want to talk about. It says, Doc remembered the correct wrench size 30 years later. And that's my thought. Like, don't you mean 3/4? Like, no, I meant 5/8. Like, I mean, that was the fact that 30 years later, he's like, I'm pretty sure I remember the wrench that I used to tighten this part of this quote unquote weather experiment. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about today is an article that I found again on that Stack Exchange, which I guess is like a Reddit, sort of, kind of. It says, what was the point of going to the future? In Back to the Future 2, Doc practically forces Marty to come back with him to 2015 to correct something regarding his kids. Basically, Marty Jr. needed to say no to Griff so that he doesn't get jailed. So Marty Sr. does this task, gets Griff jailed and his gang jailed, and his son Marty Jr. is free and will not go to jail. Task is completed. They go back to 85 and everything will be just as it was at the end of part 1. Biff owns a car accident company. George McFly is a successful author. Here's what I don't get. What exactly is the point of going to the future and correcting it? And then coming back to the present. You're still going to have to live through it again after you arrive in 1985. It will be made sense if Marty and Doc were planning to live in 2015 permanently, a hard task given that their future selves will be milling about. But just because Marty Jr. avoided jail in the timeline featured in the movie doesn't mean he won't once again get the same request by Griff to take part in the robbery through the natural progression of time, where Marty returns to 1985 and lives out his life the normal way. Marty Jr. is once again going to have to say no once again, get chased by hoverboards, beaten up. No, Marty, and who knows if it's successful the second, Marty is not going to have to say no. What is this guy talking about? So I thought this was going to be good. This guy saying that when they leave, that when it happens the next time, it's not going to be them. Marty's going to be there because it happens in 2015. Someone says, I think they never had any intention, but seriously, I don't, Yeah, this was a terrible, terrible idea to talk about this article. Someone said, when it comes down to actually designing the story Back to the Future, they actually intended to continue the adventure, blah, blah, blah. Now that someone's just talking, I don't care about the script. Yes, the script has some flaws in it. I want to talk about the actual, what did happen. Although there are plenty of ways Marty could try to keep his son from getting involved with Griff, and Doc might have not got great faith in Marty's parenting abilities given what a loser he had become. Are they saying why didn't he go to the 2015 Marty and tell him to stop? I guess here's the thing. Why not just maybe just tell Marty in 85, don't let your son do this. I don't know. I don't think that guy made sense, or I have terrible reading comprehension. But I'll tell you what I don't have. I don't have any more time to talk Back to the Future 2 with you because I'm done. It turns out yesterday, the song really stretched out yesterday's episode because I thought today was going to be short and sweet. And I've already passed yesterday's episode. So with that, I'm going to finish. I don't want to go too far. It's crazy. I got to do this again tomorrow. And then, 16 more days after that. My goodness, we're almost at the halfway point. Amazing. So my friends, thank you for listening and subscribing. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Geek Mentality. The Facebook page is Fans.Experts. The website is fans.experts.com. And the podcast is Geek Mentality. This is Marchy McFly 2. 31 straight days of celebrating Back to the Future 2. This is day 14. And until tomorrow, my friends, here is my, wait for it, 3, 2, 1, theme song. This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans not experts.